Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, the Tycoon, and I have my main man here, King Dems. How are you doing, King Dems? How are you today, bro?
I'm good, my brother. How are you doing? And of course, for our viewers at home,
Uh,
apologies for the late start.
yeah. Apology. I mean, we were getting, we were just training. We were doing some, we were doing some sparring in the background, just trying to get ready for you guys. So apologies for starting late today. We're 30
Sparring,
minutes late.
sparring,
As you can see,
sparring.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for this weekend's fight. Who wants to come and fight with me? Let's go.
Those are not 4 ounce
How
gloves. They are not 4 ounce. That is 1 ounce glove. Like the impact, brace for impact. Literally, you took it too
yeah,
literal.
bro, I'm
Brace for
bracing
impact.
myself for impact, bro, because man, these two guys in the main event on Saturday night, these two guys are absolute giants, man. Like I
The
don't know.
Battle of Giants.
First of all, before we even start, what do you think about what do you think about the card? The card as a whole. What are your thoughts on the entire card?
My thoughts on the entire card. Do you know something? Interestingly, let me take you back in time. In episode 2 of my podcast, that was last year, I think around November last year. My I had Raffian's thoughts on that episode, and we predicted the future. We saw the future. We saw the possibility of having, super fights, champion versus champion, you know, like mega fights, and we pictured something like this. So for me, seeing this kind of card is a manifestation of something that we had already pictured. It's like the actualization of the picture of the future, you know, that we envisioned. So it's really, really
That you
nice.
guys saw.
Yeah, we saw the future,
Mm.
and it's nice to see. So basically, it's surreal for me. Like it's just, you know, um, an actualization. It's like a deja vu. Yeah, for me, like it's like we've seen it before. It's just happening.
Yeah, in your opinion, yeah, do you think this card shows the coming of age of the PFL? Has the PFL come of age? Because in all honesty, I feel like this card is better than some of the fight cards that, for instance, the UFC can put on. In my opinion,
that that awkward
do
data.
you think? Yeah. Do you think the PFL has come of age? Is this like the common, the real arrival of the PFL here? Is this what we're seeing on Saturday night?
Definitely, it is an arrival, and of course, it's not just an arrival of the PFL alone. Remember, there was a merger slash acquisition, right? That happened between the PFL and Bellator, right? Such that Bellator was acquired by the PFL, and the two rosters are sort of easing into a merger, right? So if that happens, that's number two, and number three MMA promotion in the world, right? Coming together. I
Yeah.
think they're putting up a good opposition to the UFC. The UFC has been sort of monopoly-ish, monopolistic, in a way, and they're putting up that good competition. Nice card, fantastic card, and interesting to see how the UFC heavyweight, former UFC heavyweight champion, right? Is now proudly with the PFL and making global waves. So I think this is welcome development, and don't be surprised if you get to see other stars from the UFC jumping boats and cross carpeting to In quotes, where the grass might be greener. We are in for a ride.
Yeah, I mean, it's about Francis's situation, right? Because let's be honest, we've seen a couple of guys move out from the UFC and move to PFL, but
Mhm.
you know that's just it, and they just become regular fighters. There's really nothing that they've really added necessarily to the PFL in terms of upgrading the brand and everything. But
Mhm.
I mean, this is different. This is very different.
And the
We've seen
PFL is
Francis, of
difficult.
course, go. Yeah, yeah, this is different with Francis. We've seen him, of course, do the two boxing fights that I would
Mhm.
say on were a success. I mean, obviously, if you take out the AJ, um, which will be one off. I don't think if that fight happens again, he'll probably go the same way. Um, I just think something was just off about Francis on that night. But that's in the past now. But the question here is this card now, is Francis the main person in this card, or are we also looking at people like Chris Cyborg? Are we looking at people like Pacheco? Are we looking at people like Johnny Eblen on this card? Johnny Eblen is a stud, man. So, in your opinion, is Francis the only one that is carrying this card, or you know, other people are they involved as well?
To be honest, right? Francis is not the only one carrying the card, and that is beautiful to see. All right. I still have a bone to pick with Johnny Evelyn, right? Because I bought that ticket to Bellator Champion Series in London, right? Expecting to watch Johnny Evelyn versus Fabian Edwards for the main event, and that main event was postponed and taken out to this card. So for a main event, right, to be taken out of a card and added to that card, it shows you the power of that particular card. So it's not Francis alone being the A side here. So there are other A-listers right on the card, and it's a super fight as advertised.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I was looking at. I mean, to be fair, I've seen Johnny Eblen do his work, and that guy is good. That guy can
Mhm.
probably sort of, and I think he's unbeaten at the moment. He can probably give a lot of the guys in the UFC a run for their money. Welcome, Courageous Empire. How you doing, my brother?
The courageous
Good evening,
one.
everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening, bro. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can hear you. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Also, what's happening in
Nice,
Lagos?
nice, nice.
I don't live in Lagos. I live in Benin.
Benin. Oh wow. Bad man. Let's see this up.
Nice, you're welcome. So yeah, I was saying, Johnny is and I agree with you there, Demola, and that point. That point makes a lot of sense. You also have AJ McKee as well on this card, who I think in his rights is also a star. Obviously, he was unbeaten until a few months ago when he lost. So yeah, there are a few guys on this fight.
The
That I
mercenary.
think I think it's a good card. Um, but just one other thing before we have a look on the entire card now. Maybe I'll start with you now, um, Courageous Empire. So, do you think that the PFL has promoted this card very well? In your opinion, have they promoted this card properly?
Yes, yes, I think so. Because I love the way they just put Francis as the main star of the entire card. The way they are promoting him, his story, every single thing, even from the embedded vlog series, everything is just about Francis. I just love that's what I just love about this card. Everything is based on Francis' return.
Yeah, yeah. How about you, Dems? What do you think?
So I'm going to take it from a different angle. For the angle of Turkey Alashik. If that man is promoting you, then you know that this is world class promotion. So, the new yardstick for elite level combat sports promotion is if Turkey Alashik has his hands in it, and of course, that's global level, and I think they're doing a great job. It's beautiful to see the kind of artistry, cinematography, that goes into these promotional activities, right? And also the involvement of the media across board, right? So, and also, yeah,
Mm.
not just combat sports media, mainstream media as well, right? Social media as well. A lot of people that are not even into combat sports have been asking me, oh, when are these guys fighting? And they seem to know like what is happening. They know Francis, like, well, who is that guy he's fighting? He's fighting one scary guy, blah blah blah, right? So I think the yardstick for really measuring how popular a fight is the buzz that it has with the casuals, right? And the casuals are talking about this, and
Mm.
that's a great one.
Yeah. Honestly, like Francis has been all over the media. I saw on YouTube, even Al Jazeera. He's had an interview on Al Jazeera. All these talk sport are all over the card. So, I mean, because why I asked that question was because I saw on YouTube and a few other places some of these people who just think that the UFC is the only MMA organization. And they are bashing the PFL, saying, "Oh, PFL are not really doing enough about the fight. They're not really promoting it." I even saw Kayla Harrison as well on. I don't know if you watch an Area Hawani show. She said the same thing, that she hasn't really seen the promotion of this fight. But and I beg to disagree with those guys. I
That
don't think
sounds
I agree with. I
that
think
sounds
it's been
bitter
okay.
from an
Yeah,
ex
yeah,
PFL.
yeah. Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, but then everyone has obviously their own opinion, and everyone has a right to their opinion. But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to this fight. Um, so the first fight on the card, it's you have a Moroccan. Is this a Qatar? Yeah, a Qatari guy, Ismail versus Ben Dowd. So Ben Dowd is undefeated, 3-0-0, and then Ismail is 8-1-0. I mean, obviously, a lot of the people on this card, especially on the undercard, will not really be people that we've probably
I'm,
seen
I'm
based,
telling you.
yeah, obviously based on that whole UFC thing. And we know that, and PFL, Don Davies and the chairman of the PFL, they do understand their position in this community, right? They do understand that they are the second string organization. So that's not in doubt here. But I don't know what any of you think of this fight. This this is Qatar, right? This Qatarian guy Tariq Ismail versus Taha Ben Daud. What are your thoughts on this fight?
I'll go for the Moroccan. My money is on the
Right,
Moroccan.
right, right. African fighter, yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you as well. What do you think, Courageous Empire? Who are you going with on this one?
I'm backing the Moroccan fighter also.
Yeah, correct. That is an unanimous decision to Taha Ben Daud for the win. I don't know what does the odds say, them. So what does the odds say for this fight? Who are
Mm,
the bookmakers backing?
I'll need to do a quick check on that. Bet 365. Let's check. Mm, PFL. Just a moment. Okay. MMA.
Mm.
TFL. To win fight. Oh, okay. The Moroccan is the underdog. 2.3.
Mm.
And Tariq Ismail is 1.62.
Okay, well, I
Okay,
mean,
so
underdogs do
so
win
it means
sometimes. So,
yes, many times,
mhm.
and it's not like a landslide underdog. So it's undefeated, but I think
Mm,
because it's just 3 fights, right? So they feel he doesn't have that experience of Tariq Ismail. But back to Moroccan.
nice. Okay. Yeah. So just moving on this one. These are two undefeated guys. Ibrahimov versus Nacho Campos. Ooh, some interesting names here. And this is at the featherweight division. So Ibrahimov comes with a record of 7-0, and Campos comes with 5-0. So you know how it is. Somebody's O will have to go on this one.
So
Right? So these are the kind of fights that you want to watch, right? Because you know that these two guys are going to come to fight.
somebody's who has to
Um,
go.
yeah.
I
So
think this
who are
guy
we
is
backing
a
on
big
this one?
favorite.
Who is the
Who are you guys
favorite
backing?
here? Them.
Ibrahimov.
The favorite is
Ooh, yeah,
Ibrahimov,
yeah.
right? And he's a
He's a big
heavy,
favorite.
heavy, heavy favorite. The odds for
Favorite.
Ibrahimov to win is 1.071. 1.071. No way.
That's about
No way. You
minus 12.
and the
Mm.
guy Nacho Campos. Why does his name sound like a food? Nachos. Nacho Campos is Spanish, right?
Yeah,
Um,
he's Spanish.
like
Yeah.
no disrespect to you, Nachos. Nacho Campos. The odds for him to win is 8.5. So it means if you
Mm.
stake 1,000 on this guy, you're gonna win 8,500. That's massive.
Yeah.
But I'll go with
Come on.
a bragging of.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. I mean, on Saturday, yeah, my schedule is free. Right after watching Man United, I'm gonna be all over this fight. I'm gonna watch these fights probably from the beginning to the end.
Why do you
I've
still
cleared
support
my calendar
Manchester
for Saturday.
United? And
Well,
why do you
because
still
they are my
support
team.
Manchester United?
So what do you want me to do? Should I
Have
leave
you
my
have
team
you
and go and
have
support
you have you done a
another one?
checkup of your heart lately?
Take a break from football.
Have you done a checkup?
My brother,
you, you, you,
Ataya.
you know something. You know something, Ibuka. I was telling somebody recently, right,
Hmm.
that I am so
Mm-hmm.
happy, right, that I don't support
You don't
any
watch
football
football.
team. Like in my head, I feel like that's
Mhm.
like the smartest way to enjoy the sport. Don't support any team, just be neutral. If they ask you what team do you support,
Mm.
it's like, I don't have a team. I'm just a fan of the sport.
I'm telling you, bro, we're playing
That-
Brentford on Saturday, 3 p.m. So right after that fight, I'm gonna tune straight into the PFL. Right. Well, let's just move on. Let's move on quickly to the lightweight division. And in this
Whoa.
one, you have two guys, Makasharip Zainukov versus Dedrick Sanders.
Like
15-4 and
just looking
0
at the
for
names, you already
Zainukov.
know who the favorite is. I'm looking at the
Well, I
picture.
mean, the guy has four losses on his. The guy has 4 losses on his
They
record, so
both
I'm not
they
sure. I'm
both
not quite
have
sure
they
about
both
that.
have they both have 4 losses.
4 losses. Uh-huh. Right. So I'm with 72 for Zainikov and 70 for Sanders. So who are we picking on this one? Let's move on quickly from these fights. Who are we picking
This carrier guy,
on this one?
the scarier
Right.
looking guy.
The
The guy
Russian.
the,
Who is it?
the guy
I
the guy
feel
the
like
guy with
they both look
the guy with the
scary.
complex name.
They both,
The,
You know,
you feel
the
like Khabib.
Dedrick the Dedrick Sanders guy, I feel like, if I met him in a dark alley, right, I can still stand my own against him. Like if he caught me on the street, I can stand my own against him. But this other guy, You have to say, Murife, don't run. Don't run. Because I
Oh
remember,
my God.
I remember I can run like it's a boat. I'm going with Zenukov. It's 4.5. The odds
Right.
says it all.
Who are you going with? Courageous Empire. Who
The,
are you going with?
the
Yeah,
Russian,
the
the
odds. I
Russian,
think the odds
the Ru-
are very good. Right. So now
Courageous.
we move on
You're
to the
not being courageous.
next.
Courageous is not courageous. You're not living up to your name.
I'm going with the
Um,
Russian.
No, come on. My boy.
let's move.
My boy.
Let's move on to your guy. Shout out to Reference Thoughts. Shout out to you, bro.
Super
Wishing you the
thoughts,
best of
bro.
luck this weekend. Right. So we've got a career of 22-0 versus 15-3-0. This is America versus Brazil on this one. I mean, them King Dems, you know this guy very well. You interviewed him on your channel, King Dems podcast. Yeah, what do you think about Reference Thoughts? What are his chances in this fight?
Bruv. See, Rafinha Stotts has only lost 2 fights, right? And those 2 fights have been to world champions. Number one fight he lost was to the current UFC bantamweight champion, right? That is what's his name again? This guy from Georgia,
Merab, Merab,
Murab.
Merab
Merab.
Dvalishvili. Yeah, and his second
Mhm.
fight, his second loss was to Pachi Mix, right? Which is a
Wow.
Bellator
Mm.
bantamweight champion, right? So this guy is elite level. I'm not saying because he's been on my podcast because he's my Nigerian brother, right? This guy is good, right? This guy is great. And I don't think Marcus Breno is on his level at all. And the odds even say it, right? The odds for Rafinha Stotts to win is 1.16, and the odds for Marcus Breno to win is 5.0. So no disrespect to Marcus Breno, Rafi's thoughts is on another level, and I think he's going to eat and leave no crumbs on Saturday. A knockout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
it's
you
my
agree?
prediction.
Do you agree with that? Knockout. Is it knockout or TKO?
Anyway, I'm smelling a finish. It might even be a submission. This guy's a division, one wrestler, right? So he's an
Mm.
NCAA wrestler, right?
Nice.
Championship material. So he's on a different level. I see it ending by way of finish. I don't see it going to the judge scorecard.
Nice. Nice. What do you think, Courageous Empire? Who are you going with? Any
I,
upsets
I,
here?
I just looked at. No. I'm still picking with the Stotts to get the win.
Very good. All right. We'll move on. Moving
I
on
think I think I
to
think it
the
I think
light.
I think it was the one that lost to
Mm.
Murad by spinning elbow.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
When
that's
The
what
guy.
the one I
yeah,
was just saying on this. So
Okay.
his two losses are to two guys who are champions currently, and yeah, I've heard of that. The other guy at Bellator is very good. In fact, Patty Mix, there are thoughts of him coming onto the UFC. He's been sort of talked about a lot, and he's like, still. And I'm pretty surprised. He should probably be on this card actually, because I was thinking the PFL was using this card to kind of introduce the entire world to their roster and everything. But obviously, we also know that everyone cannot fit into this one card. But yeah, moving on now to the lightweight division, to a more to a name that we as fight fans know very well. AJ McKee, who is a former Bellator lightweight champion, who beats someone who is considered a legend in the sport, the Brazilian guy. What's his name? To win that fight, Pitbull. Yeah.
yeah, people. Yeah, they
Right.
fought twice.
Yeah.
People beaten the
Mm.
second time.
This is the second time, which is the one loss that we can see on his resume. Which is obviously very good record. Right. He's fighting against an Irish dude in Paul Hughes, 12-1-0. Paul Hughes is younger. They don't have the ages here, but Paul Hughes, I think, is a bit younger. He's also, one of those guys that are, he has an incredible fight style. Who are we picking on this fight? I think this one might be fight of the night. This is one of those fights that could really be all action from the first minute till the end. But who are we picking on this one, guys?
Paul
I'll
Hughes is
start with you.
27 years
Who are you
old.
picking? Okay. Oh, you're 7. Okay.
AJ McKee is 29.
No, that's not a lot of that's not a lot of difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think AJ McKee is the more experienced fighter, so I think he has that advantage in terms of more fights. I'm going with him. So he has seen it all. This guy just had 13 fights, and AJ McKee has about twice of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are you going with on this one in games?
I think I'm biased here. AJ McKee. AJ McKee was born April 7. I was born April 8. So he's nearly my birthday mate. But putting the bias aside, right? He's more experienced, right? He's more battle tested. Paul Hughes, right? He's Irish. The Irish are very stubborn. Trust me, I've seen them fight live,
Yeah.
and they always have the support of their fans. Their fans travel to support them, so it's going to be a tough one. But
Yeah.
I think I would favor AJ McKee to ride it out. It's going to be likely going to decision, probably like a split decision win or a unanimous decision win for AJ McKee. Yeah, I'm going with AJ McKee on this one. That's going to be a tough fight. And like
Nice.
it's predicted, very likely to be fight of the night.
Yeah. I honestly think it would be. I think it has
Potential.
the makings. Yeah, it has the
Has that
potential
massive
to
potential.
be
Yeah.
that. To be one of those absolutes. One of those fights where you're just like, man, just like, damn, what's going on here? Yeah, and wishing these two guys the very best. Looking forward to watching this one. Right. So now we come over to the featherweight division again, where we have Kadimagomaev versus Zafar Hussein. So Hussein Kadimagomaev is Swiss, and he comes with a career record of 11-1-0.
So this crazy.
With one no contest against the German Zafar Hussein, who comes with a record of 13-4-0. These two guys look a bit, I don't know.
They
To
both look
me,
scary,
I would
right?
just straight up, I would just pick. Yeah, the first guy looks scary. Why the other one looks like a model? It looks like he's modeling like perfume or soap or something. He looks, yeah.
What the?
So in this one, I think I'm going to go with Hussein. I'm going to go with Hussein Kadimagomaev on this one. What does the odds say on this one?
The odds are very,
The odds
very
are
lopsided.
Right.
The odds for
They are-
Hussein to win
they are-
is 1.083, and the odds for Zafar to win
Yeah.
is 8.
Those are crazy for this card. The entire card.
But you know something. Anytime you see a guy with a long name and the name ends with a V.
My,
Ah,
There's no points betting against the guy. Just pick the guy to win. So anytime you see a guy with a long name and the guy is Russian and his name ends with a V,
yeah,
don't worry, it's game over. That's the only thing I can tell you.
yeah, that's a good tip. Good tip there. Good tip there. Who are you picking on this one? Courageous Empire. Who are we going with?
I'm going with the scarier guy, the one that has the last letter as V.
You
Good,
guys,
good, good. You learned.
none of us have been agreeing since we started this night.
Now
Does
go
it
back
mean
to bed,
nobody
Uncle.
wants to go against? So does it mean nobody is expecting an upset in this card?
The odds,
Is that
the
what we're
odds are
trying to
crazy,
know?
bro. The odds are crazy.
Okay, all
You can
right,
you
all
can go
right,
for the
all right. I
offset
hear
still.
you.
I'll let your
All
ticket be
right,
offset.
moving on. Moving on. Now we're coming to the Bellator middleweight world title. So basically, this is a Bellator fight that obviously has been put into this card. And I think this is one of the benefits, right, of PFL owning Bellator as well, and for some reason deciding to keep both promotions running. But I still do think that at some point they would have to
Merge.
merge both of them. You know, right? But it's interesting to see. So Johnny Eblen versus Fabian Edwards. And I think if you look up Johnny Eblen, you see that he's in the top 5 of MMA middleweights in the world. I think he's in the top 5 of MMA middleweight. The people that do the rankings of all promotions
ESPN.
across promotions.
Is it ESPN ranking?
I wouldn't know if. Yeah, I think so. You know, MMA Junkie. I think is usually MMA Junkie ones that I usually look at. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's the one I usually look at. Right. So, I mean, what do we think about this fight? How does, first of all, who wins, and then in what format are they going to win this one? I'll start with you, Courageous Empire again. Who wins, and how do they win this one?
No, I think Johnny Emblem is going to win this fight again. Because I think he's just the better fighter. He's the more well-rounded fighter among both of them. And I think he has that killing instinct in him. Once he senses the finish, he goes for it. Like that guy, the way he fights, sometimes I'm very scared of the way he fights. Like that guy, I don't see Fabian
Yeah,
Edward. If you look at the first fight, the way as those ground pound were brutal. Like the elbows, the punches on top. Ah,
yeah.
I
They
like
fought,
finishing the same way.
yeah, they fought before, right? They fought before,
Yes,
and
this
Edwards
is the second
was
fight.
eh,
It was
second fight. Yeah,
finished like it was a brutal finish. Like the no, 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 no. I see the fight they did the same way. A ground and pound finish. Like it's going to be
hmm,
very brutal this time around.
yeah, yeah. Well, what do you think, King James? How does this fight end, and who wins?
I feel if I want to go for any upset, this is probably the upset I would want to use
Interesting,
for,
interesting.
because there's a history here, right? And yeah, Fabian Edwards is not a pushover. He would have learned, his lessons from from the first fight. And looking at the history, look at his elder brother, Leon Edwards, right? Leon Edwards in the second fight against Kamaru Usman came with, that upset. So I'm leaning towards the possibility of an upset here. So I'll go with Fabian Edwards. And of course, I'm still angry with them because I bought a ticket to this particular fight for this main event, right?
Yeah.
And they switched it up on me. They took it away from London and took it to Saudi Arabia. No problem. May the best man
Yeah, I
win.
think someone had an injury. Yeah, I think it was an injury, then they had to just move it. Yeah. Right. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting. I agree with you. Actually, it's gonna be an interesting fight. So, how old are these two guys? Looking at their ages, I don't know if anyone has that stat for us.
Fabian Edward
Uh,
is 31.
how old are
He's
these?
31.
Mm-hmm. And then Johnny
Yeah.
Eblen is. Hmm.
Johnny
I
Emblem
mean, Johnny Eblen
is
trains,
32.
by the way, with
32.
it.
It's 32.
Oh,
Yes,
not much.
he's
Okay,
32.
it's not that old. Johnny trains with
Yes, yes.
Sean Strickland, and they are training partners and
Oh, at
good
American
friends
top
as
team.
well. So yeah, and obviously Fabian Edwards is the brother of Leon Edwards, who was the UFC welterweight champion
Former.
for a while.
Former.
So before we remember the name.
Yeah.
Before we remember the
Remember the name, Muhammad.
name. Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah, yeah, right. This is an absolute legend of the sport. Former UFC champion, Bellator champion, and now they are going for the PFL featherweight world title. Um, this is two Brazilian ladies, two absolute. Obviously, also Larissa Pacheco beats the renowned Kayla Harrison in one
Killer
of their
Harrison.
fights. Yeah, dethroned her. She was the one that I think Kayla's only loss on her record was by this lady Larissa Pacheco. And obviously, Chris Cyborg, 27 fights, two losses, one no contest against Larissa Pacheco's 23 fights, four losses, 23 wins, sorry, four losses and zero no contest. So this is going to be an interesting fight. This is going to be, I mean, obviously Chris Cyborg is not getting any younger. So what effect is her age going to play on this fight? King Dems, what effect is age going to play on this co-main event?
Massive, massive, massive effect. Chris Cyborg is 39, Larissa Pacheco is 31, right? So, and we know statistically that anytime we have fighters fighting with an age difference of 8 years or more, right? More than 60% of the time, right? The younger fighter has the advantage. So in this scenario, right? No disrespect to Chris Cyborg and everything that she's achieved in the sport. I think I'm going with Larissa Pacheco just based off that age factor. And aside from the age factor, skill for skill, style for style, styles big fights, Larissa Pacheco is no pushover at all. She's got a win over Kayla Harrison, and Kayla Harrison is the champion in waiting in the UFC. And just to put a little bit of history, right? Larissa Pacheco has just lost to like the cream of the crop in women's MMA. She was in the UFC before at some point, and I think she had to lose.
Oh, really?
She
Was
had
she?
to, yeah, she had two losses in the UFC, and she left. And I think one of those losses was to Jessica Andrade, and the other one was to Jermaine Durandamy. Yeah, so she's only lost to like
Hmm.
the the,
Both are
the
former
elite level.
champions.
Okay. Yeah, so championship materials.
Yeah,
So I think she's going to get the win this time.
yeah. I looked at. Yeah, I honestly, personally, I agree with you as well. Um, She did if she did a boxing fight as well. For there was one or two, I think. I think age is something in this sport that just sometimes catches up with you. And I've been watching their version of Embedded, their vlog series, PFL on YouTube, and she doesn't look very up for it in this one. I mean, I might be totally wrong, and obviously experience and everything, but to me personally, I don't feel like she looks very, very up for it on this one. What are your thoughts on this one, Courageous Empire? Who's going for this
No,
win?
I'm picking the younger fighter because I think age is going to play a big factor in this fight. I think Larissa is just going to show Cyborg that it's her time. As you see, if you look at their resume, recent fight, you see that Larissa fought younger fighters more, like Kayla Harrison, and it's not easy. Kayla
Mm,
Harrison, she's not a pushover. We know what she can do. We are seeing what she's doing in the US currently now. I think she's going to take it, but I think it's going to be
yeah.
a decision win, a dominant decision
Mm.
win.
So are you saying it's going to be a boring decision then? Or okay, you said dominant. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
Dominant in terms of a lot of grappling, a lot of taking down, and all those things.
I,
Is that what you mean?
no,
Or in terms of
I
striking?
mean, I mean, she's going to win both the striking and grappling exchanges. That's what I think.
All right. Shout out to everyone watching us. Shout out to Adeleke Odewade. Thank you very much for being on the stream. Shout out to everyone watching from the Kingdoms podcast. Shout out to everyone watching from Chats with the Tycoon. You know what we do here. You know what? We're here to bring you joy. We're here to just express ourselves and just have some fun. Shout out to you for joining us. Now, but moving on. We're moving on to the main event of the evening,
Oh,
all the
Whoa,
way
that's a big
Saudi
one.
Arabia. All the way from Saudi Arabia. This is where we'll probably spend most of the chat. We'll spend most of the time, tonight on this one because there are many dynamics of this fight. There are many things to talk about. There are many things to look at. There are many. We already started with it and we already talked about a few things in the beginning. And we'll ask some questions. What do we expect? Two fights away from from MMA into boxing, what effect is it going to have on our man Francis? His knee, his training, the fact that obviously he's made a whole load of cash now from boxing. What effect is this going to have on him mentally and otherwise? I'm going to start with you, Courageous Empire. What effect? The question is, we take it one by one. What effect will the bag of money that Francis have made from boxing have on him on his long-awaited return to the smart cage?
well, I don't really think he's going to play a big effect like in terms of the way Francis
Are
fights.
you saying
I
money
think
does not play
Francis.
an effect?
No, I mean not that way. I mean not that way. I don't. I mean not that. I mean Francis is taking this fight serious, very serious. That's what I'm trying to say. He's taking this fight very serious. I think he just have to. I don't know how to put it down. He just has to show up on Saturday. He has to show up. He has no. He just has to show up.
Yeah, that's well, he has to show up. So, King Dems. Okay, first of all, what effect will the money have? And then what happens if Francis doesn't show up? Does he still win? What happens?
If Francis doesn't show up, Ngannou will show up. And if Ngannou does not show up, I will show up for that money. So uh yeah. Jokes aside, right? I feel like okay, you know, it's beautiful that I was opportune to have met Francis and his coach Dewey Cooper, during the build up to that AJ fight at the press conference, right? And something Dewey Cooper told me, because I asked Dewey Cooper about something. Are there transferable skills between MMA and boxing, right? And he was, honest, right? That the stances and the footwork of boxing and MMA are different, right? The footwork for boxing is some sort of different level, right, of artistry than that of MMA. And if you're able to gain mastery of this, over some time, it will improve your game. And also taking back that footwork into MMA, right? I feel like Francis has, better sharpened skills. Uh, I'm not just talking in abstract terms. We've seen it with people like Clarissa Shields, moving from boxing, transitioning from boxing into MMA. We see how the footwork actually helps her to piece up these girls, right? And she's doing well in MMA as well. So that being said, right, I feel like Francis, combining the transferable skills he's had from boxing, right, into MMA would be a big advantage for him come Saturday night. So if he's on his A game, right, on Saturday night, I see Francis beating up Renan Ferreira. So Renan Ferreira brings up ghosts of this guy in the UFC currently. What's his name? Robelis Spain. I don't know if you guys know Robelis Spain. That tall, scary guy, right?
He's fighting this
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
He's fighting
They
this
still
weekend.
fighting. Uh, like you
No,
see how his hype train has been derailed. Those tall, scary guys, right? Tall, scary, athletic guys. They look scary, but muscles don't win fights, right? Skill and technique is what wins fights, right? And Francis has been able to learn from the best of the best, from the Stipe Miocic of this world, you know, to the
The
top
guns.
heavyweights, and yeah, Cyril Gane, even Biggie Boy, Rosenstruik, what's this other Dutch guy who was in the UFC? He's beaten the best of the best, even the Cain Velasquez's of this
sorry.
world.
Mm.
Yeah, Overeem, yeah. So I'm not scared at all, betting my money on Francis to win. I think he's got the edge in this one. So that's just my take on Francis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna bet against Francis on this one. I think this fight. I think Francis has the experience. He has obviously fought, like you said, the more experienced guys, people who have accomplished a lot more in the sport than even in kickboxing. Than this guy. But then this guy has something as well. The way he dispatched of Brian Bader
Brian
was
Bader
was
is a
something.
light heavyweight. He is a light heavyweight that moved up to
Yeah.
heavyweight. That's what a lot of people forget.
Mm.
So
But
he's
then
not
he's
a
an experienced
proper,
fighter. He had been in
yeah,
UFC and
but he's
all
not a
that.
proper
He's a
heavyweight.
mm. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, but we'll see. Let's obviously we will see. Right. So are we all picking Francis on this one? So
Come on, we're
Yes,
now
picking our
yes,
brother.
prediction
yes.
time. So who wins? Okay, who wins and how?
Wow,
Who
come
wins the
on.
fight and how?
This is heavyweight. This is heavyweight fighting. Who wins, Francis? How? By KO or TKO? It can never see the judges' scorecard. If that fight sees the judges' scorecard, I owe you something. Just
Okay,
tell me.
okay, okay.
Don't let me make it too
Evidence
big.
day.
I'll send you £20.
Evidence day. Evidence day.
I'll tell you
Okay.
that I doubt it. I strongly doubt it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Do
I
you want to
think
bet?
so too. I think it does.
Do you want to
Obviously,
bet
this
on
fight
it?
doesn't. This fight doesn't. No, it's not about. This fight doesn't go the distance. I think it's quite straightforward, really. To be honest, I don't see how it does because these two guys will want to show Renan will want to show something. He wants to show that, man, bro, you've just come into the PFL from box or whatever. You know, all the attention from
Yeah,
the press conferences,
he wants
everything
to steal
has
the
been on
eye.
you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he wants to obviously steal that hype and have his own. And then Francis, of course, has also, you know, he wants to come back and make that statement, especially with Dana White on one side saying things like, "Oh, I offered you more money, you know, and you decided to go to, you know,
Dana,
things like that. It's
typical
pissing
Dana
him off,
move.
and he wants
Dana.
to be like."
Typical Dana move.
Yeah, that's even true. We're going to talk about Dana in a second, but Corridor Senpai, what do you think? What is your own prediction? How does the fight end and who wins? Before we talk about Dana for a minute.
No, since the fight was booked, I've been watching Renan Ferreira's fights. I've watched so many of his fights now, almost all his fights in his professional record. And I've noticed one thing about him: he doesn't have a gas tank. So I see the fight. Even Francis will not get the finish in the first round. I see the fight at any time. It can end in the fifth round, it can end in the fourth round. He doesn't
Hmm.
have a gas tank. And another thing, we all know that that boxing training is going to help Francis cardio because Francis boxing they go for 12 rounds,
Yeah,
so that endurance is already there. Another thing, I also noticed that Reina doesn't have a good defense
that's a
when
good
he's moving
point.
backward. He doesn't have good defense when he's moving backward. He's good offensively, but when he wants to move backward, he just move on a straight line and he lifts his chin up. And you know you can't leave your chin when you are fighting Francis. One shot, even a jab can drop you. So that's the
Snipe.
thing. I see Francis ended the fight in the first exchange. That is when Reina decided to exchange with him in the pocket. I see Francis knocking him out with
Hmm.
a left hook.
Left hook, right or left? No, left hook, right. Okay, okay.
Pereira's left hook. He's gonna borrow a trick from Pereira's book.
Yeah, I wanted to be sure. Yeah, nice. No, no. And honestly, that's also what I have in my head as well. That's the kind of finish I have in my head. I think Francis makes a statement here on this one. And
Massive statement.
imagine the headlines by Sunday, Monday, when there is that highlight reel of Francis like just knocking this dude out. Like it's gonna be absolutely the whole boxing world, the whole MMA world. You know, everybody will. Yeah, it's gonna make some serious headlines. Yeah, I mean, obviously their records, just to read out their records, 17-3-0, 13-3-0 for Renan Ferreira. Ah,
Three no
Baba,
contest.
oh, somebody, there's somebody that just joined the stream. I need to pause the stream to welcome my brother from another mother. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Jibrin Aminu. How are you doing,
JB
my brother?
Aboki.
Yes, so my guy. How are
JB
the boys?
Aboki.
How are the boys doing? I got a last minute call to request or last minute invite by Ibuka himself to join. I said, Ibuka, don't schedule meeting, But when we had finished, he said I can hop on. I said, okay, let me check. I'm just trying my luck like this, and you guys are still here.
The main event.
Yeah, listen, you're not. I mean, we're
You
in
came
the
at the
main
nick of
event,
time.
so which is actually you actually came on because obviously we've breezed through the entire thing, but it's been interesting. We've looked at some of these other guys, so just give us summarize for us. Tell us what you think before we just carry on. We're already done anyway. What do you think about this fight? Who will win and how?
I think
We already
I
know who he
think
thinks. This
I
is the
think the
African
thing
fighter
is
himself.
the thing is that it will be an abomination to pick for me to pick against Ngannou. But to be honest, well, is that Gorgeous Empire? I've never seen you before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where you are in this neck of the woods. Anyways, let me get back
Yeah.
to it. So
Okay.
uh with regards to that, I think I've already told you guys. on my podcast. That's the African Fighter Sport every Sunday. I am a bit scared, right? I feel like Ngannou has this aura of like knocking people out with him just blitzing and something will just land and these fighters will go. Like when he went on a tear in the UFC. Just take away his win against Miocic where he was calm and calculated. Take away his win against Cyril Gane where he was a wrestler. But building up to that point, all the knockouts he was getting is vibes and inshallah. That is just go for it and inshallah you knock him out. But that's the same thing that Ferreira has going for him. If you look at his highlight package of all his knockouts, it's mostly like the way Ngannou was. Sometimes you would see the fighters, they would actually be scared, and it's not even the punch that will knock them out, it's something else. So there is, I heard Courageous Empire saying once they stand and start exchanging, one person is going to go down, definitely. I'm afraid that once they start doing that, Ferreira will be the first person to catch Ngannou. Mostly because his reach is crazy. Like, have you seen his reach?
Yeah.
It's almost like he's like an orangutan. His hands are almost taller than his body.
2 inches,
2 inches
wider than Ngannou.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that massive
2 inches more
advantage he has. Yeah.
Ngannou, to be honest, Ngannou has long hands for his height size. But the thing with Ferreira, he kicks as well. You understand? And you cannot tell me that Ngannou has been training to avoid kicks, because he was training to be a boxer recently. And to be honest, in the heavyweight division, kicks don't necessarily always happen. And when Ngannou is trying to kick in his fight, he loads it up like he's almost like he's doing count. He's very slow with those head kicks. It's almost like he's doing countdown before he do it. You tell your opponents like, "Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, leg kick." So that's how slow
he kicks like he's kicking a football.
Yeah. So that's why I'm scared.
Too.
I don't know. There's this picture I've been having in my head. You know that head kick that Usman suffered from Leon? I swear to God, that thing was in my head before it happened, because I saw what he did I saw what he did against Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad with those kicks. He's very good with those type of kicks. So that was in my head. But now with this Renan guy, I swear that there's this tip kick and this front kick he does. Those Anderson Silva style, straight to the chin. Now waiting day for my head like this. So that's the thing I'm most scared about.
Remove it from your head, please.
I don't want it to end that way. But my prediction is that Ngannou wins in the second round.
Please remove it from your head. I beg. Remove that.
So in case that happens, you see that tip kick or that front head kick. Remember, I tell you now.
No, well, second round. I mean, that conclusive. That's what we all thought. But we all thought it would be. Maybe first round they might just be like this. Then second round they'll get into it. But this is a unanimous decision as well. Everyone picked Ngannou to win here. So
unanimous decision. It is a unanimous
for all of
decision
us here.
that the fight will not be a unanimous decision win.
Yeah, of course. I also agree. This fight is not going to the distance. Definitely.
But wait a moment,
chance
guys. Is it a 3-round or 5-round fight?
It be 5 rounds.
I think it's 5 rounds. It's 5 rounds.
The PFL,
I think I heard Ngannou saying it. I can confirm quickly, but yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, because the last supercard they did, that one that they did Bellator versus PFL, that one that they did, all the championship fights were all 3 rounds. I was surprised.
Yeah. Because I watched their press conference. I think it's 5 rounds. But I mean, the next question I wanted to bring us to is because Jibril, in the beginning we talked about if this is the sort of coming out now of the PFL. If this is, I think we also agreed that the promotion has been okay, despite the fact that a couple people have said promotion hasn't been good, but we established that some of them has just been people who don't really like PFL. But your
Make I
opinion,
tell
just
you.
before I ask the next question, is this their coming out? Have they
They are
come of
not,
age
see, Oga,
as a promotion?
Oga, they are not coming anywhere. Those guys, those, those
You
guys,
should know. You should know the way you feel about PFL.
the thing is, they were in business with the Saudis first, and the Saudis thought, we are
Yeah.
just pouring money to these guys. I beg, we don't pour money, give them. They've done the biggest card that they can ever think of, Bellator versus PFL. They've done everything. That Bellator versus PFL, nobody was in attendance. They said it was sold out. If you watch that show very well, you will see.
According to
Yeah.
Gabriel.
So it is a waste
Yeah.
of money. It is wasted investment.
I watched it. It was empty. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to this one to see. I hope it's not going to be empty again
Well, the
because it's
difference
going to
between
be
that one,
disappointing.
the difference between this one and that one, like this one, you can see the undercard is very, very solid. Like Cyborg is on the co-main. We've got Rafion Stotts on the prelims. AJ McKee is
AJ
on this one
McKee as
as
well.
well. So,
Yeah,
so,
Johnny Eblen.
so
Yeah.
this one is packed.
Mm.
Even if you remove Ngannou versus Renan in the main event, the card is still stacked. You understand? So,
Yeah.
to be honest, this card is even without Ngannou looks better than that Bellator and PFL. However,
Yeah.
this would determine the numbers coming out of this event will determine if PFL will sink or swim. They are big in Europe, so I'm not going to say that they are a total flop, but they are big in Europe. They are still yet to start Africa, and I'm very scared that the funding will stop coming before they start Africa. So at some point, that funding will stop coming, and I'm very scared that it happens before PFL Africa comes. I hope it comes before PFL Africa. However, I don't think there's any coming out party here. If I'm going to predict how the event will do, I don't think the event will sell very well, mostly because it is Saudi Arabian time and not US time. So that means that they will
Yeah.
not sell,
Well.
they will not sell enough pay-per-view. Most people will watch them on illegal sites or the zone. Um, so I hate to be that guy that is being negative, but I don't think the PFL model works at all. Most especially that their championship thing that they do. I think that thing is just difficult for fans to follow. If I was them, I would not overcomplicate things. I would just be doing cards back to back cards. This guy, this guy, this guy,
Yeah.
versus that guy. That 1 million Grand Prix, Kinikon, what did they do? I think it's difficult for fans to follow, mostly because they have so many rules. It's not like a straight up situation of 3 points, 2 points, 3 points, or 1 point, just like football. It's more like, oh, first round finish, second round finish, oh, unanimous decision, everything getting on points. You get me? So it's not easy to follow. I understand the fighters like it because they feel like they will win $1 million anyways. But I think that model doesn't work. I just want them to go back to putting out cards just like a regular old school fight promotion. I don't know if they would accept
Good point.
if they would want to do
That's
that.
a good
But
point you made.
by the way, this card is an example of not doing championship, PFL championship, because like this card is not about the $1 million. This card is about this guy versus this guy. So continue doing that instead of you doing this championship that is difficult to follow. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think I agree with you actually. I mean, obviously, before Francis came in, there's been a few guys crossover from UFC to PFL, and sort of maybe we'll hear, what's his name? This guy is fighting, and that's it. Some of them didn't really do well when they went there anyway. But I agree in terms of the whole points thing is a bit, and you need to have maybe created people who are stars that people are actually following for them to then understand that model. So it's a bit of a sticky one. But Dems, King Dems, first of all, what do you think about this point that Jibrin raised, right? About their format. And then the next question we're going to talk about is if we're going to have crossovers like now that, okay, well, because Jibrin, to be honest, you have already shattered the point of whether this is their homecoming. Because if you agreed, the next question will be since they are now coming out, are we going to have, but I'm still going to ask you anyway, are we going to now have a crossover promotion between PFL and UFC? King Dems, what do you think? Is there a possibility for that?
No,
I
I think the possibility is zero.
I think I'm going
Zero
to
point
let
zero zero.
I'm going to take wait. I'm going to let Demola answer this one because Demola has Dana White on his speed dial. Demola king of numbers. Tell me how it doesn't make sense. Demola, the UFC nerd. Go on.
So the UFC are not willing to do any sort of crossover or partnership with any other MMA brand. The UFC on its own is like a monopoly, right? And then they have Dana White with his
Can
own
I say
ego
something?
and
Can I
alter
say
ego.
something? Can I
Yes,
say
yes.
something? Demola, you've not used your popular phrase. High risk, no reward. Go on.
High risk, low reward, right? Yeah, it does apply as well, because what's the reward in there, right? You're taking risk of partnering with, a PFL, and we all know how Dan White feels about these guys, right? So, in terms of his ego and his alter ego, he won't even, touch that kind of partnership with a 10-foot pole. But in terms of the coming out party or coming of age, right? I think I'll disagree with Jibril on this one. I take a more positive, perspective towards this because me personally, right, I bought that ticket for Johnny Eben versus Edwards, right, which was meant to be in London, and seeing the PFL being able to put up a card for the first time in history that I can consider as stacked, right? This is a card that I bought money to go and watch, right? And the main event was taken away, right, from London to Saudi Arabia. So take out Francis Ngannou versus Renan Ferreira, that card is still stacked, right? So if they're able to do a rinse and repeat of this kind of cards, even if they have this kind of cards maybe twice in a year, I think it's a success story for them, given where they're coming from, right? And they can only grow on this, trajectory. So I think it's a coming of age sort of for them. But I think we are being
honestly think
overly we are being overly harsh on them, by judging them with the yardstick of the UFC. You should remember they are not the UFC.
Yeah, I agree with you. But you know what I was just thinking when you were talking about Edwards' fight moved away from London? I just realized that PFL, Bellator, whatever, this fight was happening in O2. I swear we cannot even get tickets because it's going to be sold out like that. Main eventing in O2. Forget O2. Carry and go Staples Arena. I think they call it. They've changed the name of Staples in LA. Crypto Arena. Carry and go Crypto Arena for LA or Madison Square Garden. It will sell out like that. I don't know whether UFC have exclusivity to the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Yeah, it's Las Vegas.
The UFC feels like Las Vegas is like their home.
That's their home. Come on.
Yeah, they probably do. There's this thing called exclusivity with. I learned it from WWE. WWE, what they do is if they are going to book your arena, they would get you sign a contract that if we do a show in your arena for the space of 1 year, another wrestling promotion cannot come and do a show.
Will not. Yeah,
so
I feel like that's business.
How did you even get here? So I was agreeing with
you.
If
it's a prime arena.
I agree with you. I agree with you with regards to they are doing supercards like this. By the way, we still haven't seen Jake Paul in MMA. So there's that aspect as well. But not that I have anything against the Saudis. I'm very, very thankful to those guys because of them, boxing has been moving on.
He transformed boxing.
But the thing is, they want it in their hometown. I get it. But the thing is, that fight would have been better outside of Saudi, because
Yeah.
how
For
many
instance,
traveling?
imagine that fight was in London. You're right. When you say this fight now na for London, all of us for go. Like me,
That
I
is
Okay.
go
if you can
there
get
there.
ticket. That is if you
I
can
want to
get
see
ticket.
fights, you know?
Yeah, like
Yeah, well,
But
it's
come to think about it, do you think
it's
they would have been able to sell out Wembley like Asian?
I think they can with the hype,
maybe
but
O2. But even Wembley, I
O2
think they
for
would
sure, for sure.
because
But Wembley is 90K.
uh, let them let them go smaller
yeah,
stadiums.
Wembley go hard. Wembley go hard. But you know, may we hear with Courageous Empire. What do you think about the point we made now? Yeah, I think earlier on you agreed that PFL has come of age. Now, is it possible that we can have cross promotion? Yeah, I know say these two guys they don't shut them down, but you maybe if he talk something that way, then White go understand. Maybe say you go see say this thing not true. What do you think about that cross promotion thing? Is it a possibility?
Wait,
It's not gonna happen.
Courageous, before you answer, I beg Ebuka, permit me to to do recruitment on your page. Courageous, you want come my show?
Recruitment.
No problem. No problem. I mean,
Okay, thank you very much. You have been invited. Oh yeah, answer Ebuka question now.
I said it's not gonna happen
It's not
Yeah,
happening.
because
yeah.
Dana
Well,
White, he doesn't want to share with any promotion. That man, he don't want to share anything. He don't want to give them any little light. He don't want. Ah, you see that
I've never
that
heard
man
Dana say anything good about PFL. I never heard him
You
talk
know,
at
anything way good.
you
all.
know,
Anytime, you know,
If
The
Dana
guy
every,
can
trash
stop
their
his
fighters,
fighters,
trash their pay.
if Dana can stop his fighters from being in the corners of their friends in PFL, he will do it. You know when
For sure.
UFC fighters go and corner their friends in, like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
remember
John
that
Jones.
Ngannou and John Jones face off
John
in
Jones.
PFL.
Mhm.
That's in pain Dana, but he can't do anything about it. But if he can, he
He
would.
gets put.
It's see
hmm.
PF the UFC day here, PFL day here, right? There may be one championship go day here and the rest go day down here. Like the difference,
How
the
about
gap.
Bellator?
Bellator, no, it doesn't count now. It's all the
Bellator
PFL
is
now.
too bad.
So,
Yeah, better for Blatter is not PFL, so I mean, you can put all of them in the same
the
bracket.
second competition is too far away. Have you noticed that you've never heard the UFC commentary name drop anything Bellator or PFL? They don't talk about it. Even
Nah, they
when
won't. Yeah,
Exactly.
waiting be that guy Chandler, even when he come, they put him for main card. They were just saying he's a very well experienced fighter. He don't do this one. He be champion
yeah,
before, but
from another
they don't
promotion.
mention Bellator. But they are fine with
Yeah,
mentioning promotions like African Knockout, EFC, LFA,
LFA.
Cage Fury. They don't get problem with that one. But Bellator and PFL, nah. So that tells
yeah,
you
because yeah,
that number one, PFL Bellator is not an issue to them. Number two, they don't want to glorify another business because this monopoly of MMA that the UFC have a stronghold on, they want to maintain that. And to be honest, I don't see anybody taking it away.
They don't
yeah,
want to. They don't
yeah.
want to risk. You don't want to risk it. You don't want to risk it because just imagine them putting John Jones versus Francis, and Francis gets the win. Just imagine the eyes that was going to draw for the PFL. Just imagine. He doesn't want
Not
to risk
just
it
the
at
eyes,
all.
the embarrassment that the PFL will be like, you see, we told you we have the best fighters.
Wow.
A
Yeah.
That
PFL
money, I don't
champion
see that
meeting a
as
UFC champion. It's not good. It doesn't even favor. It
All right.
doesn't. The only people that benefit is the PFL, and this is something that will never
yeah.
happen.
Yeah, no, and it's you can understand why anyway. Why PFL will push more for it because obviously they had the more. I think it's yeah, it's natural, but let's watch and see. Let's watch and see because with the influence of the Saudis now, you never know anything can happen. The only
Mm-hmm.
thing is, I don't think, yeah, PFL, I don't think they're working with Turkey Al Sheikh because this is not Riyadh season. This is
Oh no,
they're just calling it Saudi, but this is not Riyadh season.
no, they've
So
already started the
It's
Riyadh
real.
season now. It's Riyadh season. So
no,
so
I
so
mean
here's
this
the
this
It's real
PFL
season.
fight, they're not. I can't see any Riyadh season on
so
it.
so here's the thing.
Real
Ibuka.
season.
Here's the thing for you to understand about Riyadh season. So what Riyadh season is from the month of, I think from the month of September, end of September till which month we did? October. Ba? I think from October till March is
Hmm.
officially Riyadh season. Mainly because that's the time that the heat has reduced in the Saudi, and that is the time that they are doing so many events. There's a whole website, a whole calendar of events you can attend. You can do tennis, you can attend tennis, world tennis, all these Roger Ferreira people. You can attend Grand Prix, you
Hmm.
can attend WWE events, you can attend football, watch Ronaldo. So there's so many things that happen. So it's called Riyadh season, hence the name season. So October to March. So this event is also in the calendar. So if you go to Saudi, this is one of the events you can attend because there's so many things that is going on. There's things about gamers, there's so many music concerts. It's a whole experience that they are trying to do
Nice. Yeah.
in Riyadh. So that Riyadh season, because they've 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 been doing things. If they are not in the quote unquote season of Riyadh in Saudi, that is from October or March, then this year they started something new where they would go out and host events outside of Riyadh season. So when they are not doing
Hmm.
when they've not launched it in the that b-ball fight that you watched now, that was the launch of this season now. So
Yeah. Yeah. I know. But
so
yeah.
when they
No,
don't, this year they started hosting sponsoring things outside of Saudi with, because they were off season in it. So they did the AJ fight, they did the one in America, and then they did this fair for UFC. So it
Yeah.
all follow, and they are sponsoring La Liga now. So La Liga is going to be called Riyadh season La Liga.
Too much
Hmm.
money.
I didn't know
Yes.
They
that.
even changed. I think they changed Atletico
They should
Madrid
come and
Stadium's
sponsor
name. Something like
Nigerian. They should come and sponsor Nigerian Football League now. So we'll see if they'll be talking about Imba and Canopilas.
Ahmed
And
Musa
that.
for
Change the eyes.
for Nigerian league.
mm,
There's no eyes
Stadium
now.
still empty.
anyway, guys, I think we've come to close to the end of this
I was actually about to tell
preview.
you that we are supposed to go home, or some of us have to go to work.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
telling
yeah,
you,
yeah. No,
bro.
no, we're sorry, sorry for keeping you guys, but yeah, I mean, thanks everyone who has tuned in from the Kingdoms podcast, everyone who has tuned in from Chat with the Tycoon. We're also here. Jibrin joined us later on from the African Fighters. Check him out. Check all these channels out. We're always making content for you guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. Courageous Empire. I don't know you can drop your handles for us as well. Tell the people your handles so that they can check you out as well. Where can we find you?
On Instagram, courageous, just courageous.
Nice,
COU
nice. You're very,
underscore
very courageous.
RA underscore.
Hopefully,
Oh,
courageous. When I bring you come my pod, NEPA never carry light.
no,
No,
never
no, no,
will
no,
carry
no, no.
light.
Let's get it,
Never will
Daddy.
carry light. Light the day, light the day. So, all right, thanks guys for watching us. Obviously, look out for the fights. We're gonna be and look out for more content coming on all these platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Stream never end.
Courageous Empire.
Mm.